Hey everyone, how's it going? So today's going to be a pretty fun video, a bonus video in the Red and Blue Challenge series. A lot of you, probably as a joke, but maybe are genuinely curious to know how Mewtwo would do using these same rules. So I decided, because I'm working on the most difficult video I ever have in my entire life, that should be out in a few weeks, but this was a nice change of pace. Obviously, before we even talk about the run, let's talk about why Mewtwo is so good. I mean, we all know Mewtwo is good, but how good Mewtwo is should not be understated. And here's a just great way to show how overpowered Mewtwo is. Kadabra, one of my favorite Pokemon because of how powerful it was in Generation 1, its best stat is its special, base 120. Mewtwo's average stat is 118. Mewtwo's average is better than one of the strongest Pokemon in the game's best. I know Alakazam is even better, but Kadabra is my favorite. Mewtwo's special, which serves both offensively and defensively in this game, is 154. There are only 4 Pokemon in the game with a single stat better. We have Chansey and Snorlax with their HP, and Cloyster and Onix with their defense. This is the 5th highest stat of any kind, and it's a stat that serves 2 purposes. But it gets better. Look at Mewtwo's move pool. I mean, pretty much every useful TM, almost every TM in the game, Mewtwo can learn. But it gets even better, because although Mewtwo doesn't learn any new moves till very late, because you're not actually supposed to catch a Mewtwo till level 70, it starts out by knowing Psychic. Even if it just knew Confusion, it would be great, but the fact it starts by knowing Psychic, I mean, you saw the rival battle. Pretty much many of, if not all, the early game battles I'm anticipating to go just that way. And as you know, if you've watched my channel, I love to see if these Pokemon can do minimum battles. So far, only 2 have been able to. Poliwag, which really shouldn't have, and Ghastly, the gold standard, which took about 4 hours of in-game time. Can Mewtwo beat that? Obliterate that? Or will its one drawback actually pose a challenge? And that drawback is it's part of the slow level up group, and that means it takes many more experience points to get from level to level. That could pose a bit of a challenge, since as we get later in the game, there will be fewer and fewer trainers that we have to battle, and I could see it being a problem. But let's talk about Brock. The crazy thing with this run is it's so fast, I actually have to slow it down, not even make edits, in order to fit in all the battles. So I was pretty surprised that Psychic was not a one-hit KO on Geodude, and even more surprised that Onix outsped me, and I was gonna joke around how long it would be till Mewtwo took damage. Well, turns out battle number 3. So that's a tad disappointing, but whatever. It was still fine, and one thing you'll notice after I beat Brock, I'm not going to go heal. Why do I need to? Mewtwo has such insane stats, I barely need to heal. In fact, you'll only see me heal when it comes to digging from one place to another, or I need to fly to a location. It's kind of crazy just how much stuff you can skip and how fast this run goes. But I will make my first edit because there's nothing interesting that happens along Route 3 or Mount Moon, although I did skip the rare candy because I really wanted to see how low a level I could do this. I didn't know if that would work, but whatever, it's just one rare candy. Let's go fight rival number 2. Now there is a couple interesting things that happen here, even though the battle itself is once again fairly easy. I'm not quite one-hit KOing. This is again due to my low level and the fact I don't have much stat experience. But the other thing you'll notice against Rattata is I critical hit. Now in Generation 1 only, critical hits are based off the Pokemon's base speed. So in Mewtwo's case, it will get a critical hit just over 25% of the time. That's insane. In modern Pokemon, it's around 4% without any modifiers. Like, craziness. But nothing else in this part of the game was too difficult, so I decided to battle Misty because that would be the quickest thing to do, and I was trying to do this as fast as possible. Well, Staryu was a one-hit KO with Psychic, but Starmie, well, that Swift only did about a quarter of its HP, and it gets a critical hit with Bubble Beam. I go for Swift again, and now I'm below half health. Am I gonna lose a battle to Misty with Mewtwo? Well, she does get a critical hit, but it's with Water Gun. Oh my goodness, I didn't expect taking damage until like the end of the game, let alone losing to Misty? Holy moly, but it goes to show you, Mewtwo's attack isn't as overpowered, especially when combined with Swift, which isn't that great. Now, in other runs, I would remedy that by getting the TM for Body Slam, but we're not going to go and do that since it would both waste time and cost an additional battle that is totally unnecessary. It also would be nice if we could teach it the TM 28 for Dig, but unfortunately that's one of the few TMs Mewtwo can't learn. But I'm pretty confident I can beat rival number 3 with my current moveset. Starmie was kind of an exception due to its Psychic typing. And although both Pidgeotto and Eradicate both use Quick Attack, it's a one-hit KO with Psychic, I still am not one-hit KOing Kadabra. I'm gonna want a better move than Swift, but Charmeleon was a one-hit KO, pretty easy, and that move is gonna come really soon when I battle Lieutenant Surge, because Lieutenant Surge has the TM for Thunderbolt, and because I know someone's gonna ask, no, you cannot battle Lieutenant Surge before Misty. Misty allows you to use Cut outside of battle. You need to cut down the tree to battle Lieutenant Surge, so although I'd love to battle Lieutenant Surge first, I can't, because yes, that would be faster. But this is still not too bad. Lieutenant Surge is pretty easy. Pikachu and Voltorb aren't an issue whatsoever. I was kind of worried about Raichu. I mean, Lieutenant Surge uses X-Speed, which actually is helpful, then Thunderbolt. Thankfully, no paralysis or critical hit. I mean, I get one, but Raichu doesn't. And if you were curious why I began the battle not at full HP, the reason for that is I didn't heal in the Pokemon Center because I can just go to Diglett Cave and dig my way back to Cerulean City, saving the travel time. Which is why in Minimum Battle Solo, I'm allowed to catch some Pokemon. Since I'm not going to be using them for battle, it serves no advantage. And the best Pokemon to catch is a Paras. It can learn both Cut and Dig. And I don't usually talk about the HM Pokemon, but typically it's Pidgey or Spearow, Paras, and Lapras. Sometimes I need to change it around for various reasons, but we are going to go with the typical group, and this seemed like the perfect video to give them some attention. Anyway, now that we've beaten Misty, we can head through Rock Tunnel. There is nothing of note. Finally, there's been some very annoying runs in Rock Tunnel recently, but once we do that, I kind of have many options, and the quickest I thought was to go to the Game Corner, beat Giovanni, then get the HM for Fly, go to the Pokemart, sell the stuff I get in the Rocket Game Corner, buy some calciums because I need to go up to the 5th floor anyway to buy a drink to get into Saffron. While there, I'm also going to end up buying the TMs for Ice Beam and Tri-Attack. And then I can go to Lavender Town, fight the rival, then Erica. That I thought was the fastest route. I ended up being right. But as we see my journey through the Rocket Hideout, I do want to talk about a couple things. One, I know people are going to say you can skip it. Yes, I know. I consider that a glitch. And if we want the runs to compare to the other ones I've done, we can't skip it. That would not be fair. Also, make sure you heal in Celadon. I forgot. Instead of having to backtrack through the 2nd floor and then go up to the 1st floor since we're trying to do minimum battles, you can just dig right back to Celadon. Unfortunately, I forgot to do that, so I wasted about a few minutes of in-game time having to backtrack. That's very unfortunate, and the biggest mistake I think I made in this run overall. None of them are going to be perfect. I did try and do this as fast as possible. The Giovanni battle was very fast, but yeah, that is very unfortunate. But after I beat Giovanni, I can then do the errands I need to do and fly to Lavender Town and battle rival number 4. This battle isn't actually all that interesting, and so I decided to test a couple things. I wanted to see how much damage Tri-Attack would do against Execute when I meant to hit Ice Beam. Yeah, that was a mistake, but it was interesting that it did half. And the Thunderbolt on Kadabra, that was intentional. I wanted to know if I even needed to use an attacking move, or I could just use special moves. Well, the fact Kadabra wasn't a one-hit KO means that's not the best strategy. Unfortunately, it cost me a damageless fight versus rival number 4, but I'm sure you guys will forgive me. I make it the rest of the way through Pokemon Tower, then I fly back to Celadon. First I head to Saffron so I can fly there in the future, and then I battle Erica, which I both almost forgot to do in the run, and forgot to script. So suffice to say, it's a pretty forgettable battle, but there is something I should mention here. Part of the reason I wanted Ice Beam is the quickest way through the least trainers to get to Erica is to battle the trainer with the Execute, as we saw against rival number 4. Tri-Attack, which I wouldn't have, I'd have Swift, is a 2-hit KO, and Execute does no Hypnosis, so that would waste a ton of time. Much better off having Ice Beam for Execute. Against Erica, as you're going to see, Psychic is a 1-hit KO against all 3 of her Pokemon, 2 of them are Poison types, so that was never really much in doubt. The question was, how long would it take versus Execute? Plus, Ice Beam should serve some useful purposes later on anyway, it's a good thing to have, and it was only very minorly out of the way since we were on that floor anyway. But after I defeated Erica, then I have the bicycle. Don't forget that in Cerulean, I didn't mention it, but don't forget it, I didn't this time. And although there's tons of trainers on Cycling Path, you can skip all of them and head to Fuchsia. Now in terms of speed, it is quicker to go to the Safari Zone first, and truth be told, I actually wasted a little bit of time because I got my strategy mixed up. I want to get the HM for Surf, and then I want to dig out of the Safari Zone, because while you can't fly out or just exit, you can dig out to the last Pokemon Center. Now, I was thinking I would dig out to Fuchsia and then battle Koga, but actually it makes a lot more sense to dig out to Saffron and then go fight rival Fievel. With most Pokemon, that would be not possible, or at least incredibly challenging due to, you know, the fact he has super high-level Pokemon. But with Mewtwo, well, it should be fine. And why, Jaros? Why is that route faster? The answer is, it's only faster if you want the rare candy, and I wasn't sure if I would need them. In the Warden's house where you get strength, you can push a boulder to get a rare candy, but the Pokemon I would use to do that is Lapras. So in order to avoid multiple trips, what I want to do is have Lapras already in my party, and then just teach it strength and get the rare candy. So yeah, let's talk about the rival Fievel battle. Now, I go for Ice Beam, it's not a 1-hit KO against Pidgeot, and why use Ice Beam over Thunderbolt? Well, it's 50-50, it doesn't really matter which one. Ice Beam gives you the small chance to freeze, so why not go for that? Goes for Wing Attack, does nothing, knock it out next turn. Everything else was a 1-hit KO, albeit I did get some critical hits. You do know that's bound to happen. I should also mention why Charizard? Well, Blastoise has been giving me just really crazy good luck lately. And Venusaur didn't make any sense because it's Poison type and I'm a Psychic Pokemon. So between Blastoise and Charizard, honestly, I wasn't sure what would be tougher, and this is actually a really good time to talk about a couple things. One, did you know that Fire didn't resist Ice in Generation 1? It's funny because once someone brought it up to me in the comments, I instantly recalled a conversation I had with a friend being very frustrated during Gen 2, where I was upset because Ice Pokemon I always felt were underpowered. It's funny how that hasn't changed. And so I felt like that just made them even worse. And the other thing people have asked about that is a really good thing to address is sometimes you'll see, let's say, Earthquake against Venusaur, and it'll say it's super effective. And let me make this clear, it's not super effective. The game simply will always display a message when one type resists and the other type is weak. And which message will be displayed is not random. There is a weird priority system that you can look up on Bulbapedia. But honestly, I don't even look at those messages. It is the reason that I forgot that Ice isn't resisted by Fire in Gen 1, because I would typically only use it against Charizard and thought it was the glitch. But yeah, that is a thing in Generation 1. Anyway, after I defeat Giovanni, I then fly back to Fuchsia, and I battle Koga. Now, completely being serious here, the jugglers in Koga's gym are about 1,000 times more difficult than Koga. I mean, I don't even know, like infinitely more difficult in that they actually posed some sort of a semblance of a challenge. While Koga, the strategy was, and I know this is an overused strategy, I'm trying really hard not to use it, but I pressed A few times. I know. But like, it's hard sometimes. You tap A and then you keep tapping it, you get in this rhythm, and then Koga's just defeated. I mean, I want to make the battle interesting, I do, but like, if you hit B, nothing happens. I don't know, I'm sorry, Koga. You're just awful at your job. So you deserve a promotion for some reason. Yeah, I still don't get that one. Anyway, when deciding whether I want to battle Sabrina or Blaine, I picked Blaine. There is a Carbos available in the Pokemon Mansion, and I can get the TM for Blizzard, which maybe I'll use. And I could get the TM for Fire Blast, which maybe I'll use. So yeah, let's go battle Blaine first. And Blaine actually could have posed a bit of a challenge. However, I got too many critical hits. All these battles so far have been on my first try. I've only reset once, and that was after I defeated Giovanni and realized, oh no, I've just dug my way back to Cerulean. That's not good. So yeah, I can't really try and make this battle. I did like how Arcanine knocked itself out with recoil damage. That was kind of cool. But yeah, this battle maybe could have been a little more epic. But alas, hopefully Sabrina will be a little more exciting. So thankfully we once again can skip all the trainers and head right to Sabrina. Okay, Tri-Attack one-hit KO, that's good. Ice Beam one-hit KO with a crit, okay. Psychic one-hit KO, oh, look at that. Tri-Attack, half damage, recover, and then a crit. Alright, well, listen, we did say that we were gonna get a lot of crits, so not much we can do now, but hey, Giovanni, I can't even finish that sentence, no. Giovanni is going to be a complete joke with Ice Beam and Psychic, although I was nervous if Doug Trio outsped. The answer, no. And everything is a one-hit KO. Ice Beam, Psychic, Psychic, Ice Beam, and that was the quickest regular season I have ever had. While the 2.5 hours of in-game time is pretty impressive, the real time, since I'm upfront with the fact I've been using the Retron 5, which has a speed-up function, so I can make more of these videos quicker, 32 minutes, 19 seconds. I've had individual trainers that has taken me at least 4 times that amount of time, also with speed up to defeat. Like, wow, this is just insane. I mean, don't get me wrong, you clicked on the video knowing this would be the case. I made the video thinking this would be the case, but I just didn't realize how dominant Mewtwo would be. The fact I haven't lost a single battle to this point, I lose all the time. I talk about the battles I lose. It's insane. So, how is our final regular season game gonna go? Is it gonna be that challenging one that really teaches me that I can't be so overconfident? Well, it's not looking that way. Pidgeot's a 2-hit KO, but Rhyhorn a 1-hit KO, Execute a 1-hit KO, Gyarados a 1-hit KO, Alakazam just under half, and uh-oh, a special drop. That's offensive and defensive. That actually, I could lose here. Well, thank goodness for that critical hit, because I don't know what happened, but Charizard is no joke now. Thunderbolt is just doing half damage, and oh my god, the critical hit actually ignores the special drop, but that's... wow. Wow, I still won. But yeah, that was a bit of a wake-up call. We are battling Pokemon at least 10 levels above Mewtwo's, and that's going to be an issue. But the truth of the matter is, thinking about the Elite Four in abstract, I have pretty good moves for every one of the Elite Four members. I should be fine, right? I don't foresee any major difficulties. Oh, one hilarious thing is I buy Max Repels so I don't get encounters in Victory Road. I'm at such a low level, I still get encounters, even with Repels. I found that really funny. It wasn't even something I considered being a problem. And since this is minimum battle, I can skip all the trainers in Victory Road, and yeah, cue Ice Theme. Let's talk about Lorelei. I get a critical hit with Thunderbolt turn 1, so Dugong is a 1-hit KO. And turn 2, so Cloyster is a 1-hit KO. And Slowbro, so Slowbro is a 1-hit KO. Okay, what's going on? Alright, Jinx, I finally don't get a critical hit. Tri-Attack does about half. Jinx goes for Thrash. The next Tri-Attack gets a poor range, so I don't knock it out. Hits me again with Thrash, and there's another critical hit. That one's meaningless, but okay, at least things are seeming more normal. Now that was a little concerning. Thunderbolt did under half, Hydro Pump hits, and I'm actually not sure if I can tank another one. Oh, another critical hit. Okay, That's 5 critical hits in one battle. Insanity. But whatever, that's it for Lorelei. Now I do heal before Bruno, and that may give you the mistaken impression that he will be difficult. And I do use a different strategy. I don't press the A button a bunch of times. I mix in the D-pad, which has nothing to do with Bruno, neither did the healing. It's all about Agatha. Agatha I was pretty concerned about because I wasn't sure if I would outspeed, and Agatha is incredibly trolly in red and blue. So I do outspeed the first Gengar, but it's not a one-hit KO. Gengar has pretty great special, and it uses Hypnosis, and it hits. Uh-oh. I'm asleep. She uses a Super Potion. That's not a problem. Still a one-hit KO from this point. I'm still asleep. Nightshade. I wake up, but Gen 1, so I can't attack. Another Nightshade, and I knock it out, but one more Nightshade, and I'm done. Even with that level up, the last Gengar is level 60, so one Nightshade is still a one-hit KO. And if you're wondering why am I talking about the next Gengar, because the next 3 Pokemon are Psychic one-hit KO, Psychic one-hit KO, and Psychic one-hit KO. Now we have the Pokemon I'm terrified of. Literally all I need is no Nightshade, of course. Of course. That's great. That's great. My first loss on Hypnosis luck, and a 1 in 4 chance. Agatha just attacks randomly. No Toxic. No, just Nightshade. Great, great. Okay, well, that means I have to reset because I'm trying to do minimum battles. So let's try this again. All right, let's cue up some different music. And, oh, would you look at that? Thunderbolt would not have been a 1-hit KO without the crit. It only does about 75% of Dugong's HP. Growl isn't too big a deal, I knock it out. Cloyster, the crit didn't matter apparently. No crit, 1-hit KO, pretty good. Slowbro, it evidently did. Thunderbolt doesn't knock it out again, about 75%, and I get a crit against me. I mean, I guess that's karma, and I knock it out. Now, I was so overconfident, I actually didn't register that Dugong had used Growl on turn 1, so I go for Tri-Attack rather than Thunderbolt, and it's a 3-hit KO. That allows Jinx to use Thrash twice, and I'm only at 75 HP, and as we saw, Lapras can do quite a bit of damage with Hydro Pump. Thunderbolt does about half. Hydro Pump doesn't knock me out, but then Body Slam. Oh goodness, I just lost to Lorelei. Wow. Okay. Well, it was the music's fault, even though I do that in post, and I have no idea what song I even picked, but surely, new music, I will get a new result, right? Well, technically that's true, because this time I get a critical hit Aurora Beam. That's a different result, a worse one. I get a crit against Cloyster, so I'm not sure if this is a range or it's just always a 1-hit KO. Don't get the crit against Slowbro. Again uses Water Gun, but it doesn't get a crit, but I have not nearly as much HP for Jinx. Thankfully, Aurora Beam didn't lower my attack. Tri-Attack is a 2-hit KO, and now I just need to get a crit against the Lapras or something, I think. Well, I don't, but the Lapras sure does, and that's now 3 straight losses with Mewtwo. Am I gonna need to use Rare Candy? No, I got really bad luck with that critical hit Aurora Beam. Thunderbolt should have been a 2-hit KO. I can do this. Okay, so this time, same thing happens, but no critical hit, so I'm at 130 HP. Knockout Dugong. Good. For whatever reason, I seem to love getting critical hits against Cloyster where it doesn't matter. Whatever. This time I paralyze Slowbro, but it still uses Water Gun. 118, okay, that's fine. Now, I was curious how much damage Thunderbolt would do. It gets a crit, but it only does half. So yeah, Tri-Attack definitely was the best move, but Jinx opts to go for Double Slap. That's really good. And I am able to knock it out the next turn with Tri-Attack, and I have 103 HP for Lapras. This should be fine. Well, wouldn't you know, I don't get the crit, but I get the paralysis again. Lapras doesn't attack, and then I get the crit for good measure. So, I don't know if this strategy is actually that consistent going forward, but whatever. As long as I don't get crazy bad luck against Agatha, I should be fine. Now, because I want to show that I'm not saving between members, you have to watch this Bruno battle again. But no, in seriousness, I would speed it up, but then it would be unwatchable, and I like to show I'm not saving between members. But now that the brief Bruno break is over, we can talk about the scariest member of the Elite Four so far, Agatha. Alright, so out comes Gengar number 1. Obviously I use Psychic. Well, not a 1-hit KO, but I get the special drop, and it swaps out. Actually, the special drop didn't matter. The swapping out does matter, because now The only Pokemon I'm gonna need to worry about is Gengar number 2. Every other Pokemon is going to be a one-hit KO with Psychic. So let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love doing that.
And then I get a critical hit, so 5! 5 Psychics to victory!
Yeah, it's not a great count impression, but like, if I don't say much with it, you can't tell. So that's nice, but we finally have moved on to Lance. And I'm not anticipating Lance being an issue at all. I have Ice Beam, I have Thunderbolt, this should be fine. So, unsurprisingly, Outspeed, use Thunderbolt turn 1, bye-bye Gyarados. Ice Beam against Dragonair 1, Ice Beam against Dragonair 2, Ice Beam against Aerodactyl, and Hyper Beam, and Critical... Oh my... Come on. No. No, this is the easy one. This is Mewtwo. The Pokemon that literally... Okay, so here's where I realized I was being really, really dumb and making Lorelei super inconsistent when she didn't have to be. Because guess what? I have the TM for Fire Blast. I got it from Blaine. Jinx is an ice Pokemon. Fire Blast is 120 base power. What are you doing? In addition, I have the TM for Blizzard. It only misses 10% of the time. Then I avoid this problem with Aerodactyl. I should have taught it anyway, because who knows what the final battle will bring. So like, this is so not supposed to be this difficult. I was being overconfident, but I've learned my lesson. I've lost enough times. Let's do this for real. Critical hit on Dugong, that's good. And oh, Cloyster was a range. Good to know. It uses Supersonic, that's bad, but it misses. Okay, good to know. Still don't get that crit on Slowbro, Water Gun, not a big deal. And now let's see if Fire Blast is a one-hit KO on Jinx. Turns out it's not. It's close, but not exactly. Maybe it's a range? I don't know. If I lose again, I'm probably just gonna level up because this is ridiculous. Crit on Lapras is pretty good, Super Potion even better, so yeah, definitely some good luck in Lorelei, but at the lowest level possible, it turns out Lorelei will be kind of lucky. Really, really didn't expect that, but yes, now we get to see the magnificent Bruno fight once again. And honestly, if his Pokemon knew more than TM moves, they'd be slightly better, but it's also weird that as the fighting Elite Four member, he has 2 rock Pokemon when there's Poliwrath and Primeape available, whatever. But now we get to go battle Agatha, and I'm still pretty nervous. And looks like I had good reason to be. Confuse Ray turn 1. Amazing. Well, I don't hit myself in confusion, and that's at least Gengar down. And Golbat might use Haze, so this could turn out okay. Well, even better, I snap out of confusion, and that will be 1, 2, 3, and now I'm worried about Gengar number 2. And it uses Nightshade, best case scenario, not so worried anymore. And now all I need is not to get that pesky 10% Blizzard miss. But you are going to notice I actually teach Blizzard over Fire Blast. That's for power points. Fire Blast isn't going to serve much of a purpose in either of these battles. Executor Blizzard will be just as good. So might as well just erase Fire Blast. And yeah, let's see if I can finally get by Lance. Alright, so you know Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. Ice Beam, am I going to hit the Blizzard? Yep, and it's obviously a one-hit KO, and then Dragonite's Blizzard, and look at that, damageless Lance. Just need to use an Elixir, and I'm ready to fight the rival for the final time, but no more stalling. Here's the final battle. Thankfully, I outspeed Pidgeot, and Blizzard is a one-hit KO. So far, so good. But now I'm worried since I don't have a physical attack, how am I going to stand up to Alakazam? Well, a Blizzard miss isn't going to help, but thankfully it uses Psybeam and I don't get confused. So I have another opportunity. I get a critical hit, but it's only doing about 2/3 and a special drop. Oh no, not a special drop. This won't even knock it out. Okay, a critical hit, but this is a nightmare. I'm only 2 Pokemon in and I have lowered special. There's no way I win this. I mean, Rhydon with its awful special isn't a one-hit KO. Thank goodness it's frozen so it can't attack me, not that it has great attacks, but wow. Well, now I'm out of Blizzard, so I have to use Ice Beam on Executor with its massive special. It knows Hypnosis, and I get a freeze. Okay, you know what? Good luck, but with that special drop, I need some good luck. In Generation 1, you can't just thaw out naturally, which is really silly, only if you get hit by a fire move, which I don't even have. So it's just a free knockout on Executor, but there are still some scary Pokemon remaining. I mean, case in point, Gyarados isn't a one-hit KO with Thunderbolt. Thank goodness it uses Leer and not Hyper Beam, but like, now both my defensive stats are lowered. I'm losing for sure. Like, I can't even freeze a fire Pokemon, but I can get a crits, and yeah, okay. That was not the way I expected this to go, but cue victory music, we won. I don't even know what to make of this. I mean, it started out so easy, and the Elite Four ended up being way more difficult. In the end, we were able to beat the entire game, ending up at level 50, which is, by the way, the theoretical minimum if you don't do any skips. So yes, it would be lower if you did the Pokédoll exploit, but the question is, what is our time? 3 hours, 3 minutes. Darn, I would have loved to get sub 3 hours, but, you know, first runs have mistakes. All my other runs I've had mistakes in. That's incredible. It also goes to show you, you know, I do want to mention just how great Ghastly is. I mean, the fact it's even in the same conversation as Mewtwo is insane. Of course, Mewtwo's over an hour and a half quicker and 15 levels lower, but still, you know, just insanity. By the way, the Elite Four took me 15 minutes. Half an hour for the game, 15 minutes for the Elite Four. Being at a lower level sucked, and if I wanted to just maximize real time, I would use the rare candies, and this run would have taken under 40 minutes of real time. That's just, you know, it's a great change of pace from the Impossible series, and maybe that's going to be the next video. I'm not really sure. I have a bunch of videos on the way, so subscribe, like, do all those things, because I'm here, I'm making videos, and I'm so glad you guys are allowing me to do this. It's really been a dream come true during these difficult times. I cannot thank you all enough, and yeah, I guess I can thank you one more time. Thanks for watching. Take care.